coming to you here from Hook Outdoors. It is Thursday, April 7th, 2021, here at Cave Run Lake. It's been pretty warm here of late. We've been on a good run weather-wise. Haven't had a whole lot of rain. Had some good warm temperatures. And looks like Evan has joined us here. Ev, are you on board?
I'm here.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. This worked out pretty good.
I'm out here, just got in the boat. I'm out here rigging tackle. I've got a massive mess in the boat right now, so I'm kind of try to tame this down while we're talking.
Well, maybe you'll have it done by 2:30 when it's time for you to leave for Dale Hollow here after a while.
I know it. I'll be lucky to get sleep tonight with the shape the boat's in.
Awesome. Well, we're just going to keep trucking along here, Ev. We're going to talk about. I'll go into a little bit on what these other fish are doing, and then you can talk about the important ones, at least in your mind, anyway. Here in a minute, and you can fill us in on what you got going on at Dale Hollow, and maybe give the folks a little bit of idea. If they decide to come to Cave Run, what they can do this weekend.
Right. So if you hear spinnerbait blades clanking and all that stuff, just pay no mind to it. That's just me.
That's what we're all about here, folks. Just listen in. You might learn something.
Trying to keep it real.
Well, folks, like I said, we've been on a hot streak here. We've had some really warm days, and the nights are really starting to heat up too. So, the lake's starting to warm up. It's been muddy and still muddy, but the one blessing about this muddy water, it does tend to warm up faster. So, Ev, what are you hearing as far as the water temps go?
Anywhere from the upper 50s to low 60s. It kind of depends on where you are. I've heard the flats to be, upper 50s, 58, 59.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm expecting some, down on Cave Run, some of the protected pockets like we talked about last week to be somewhere in the low 60s, 63, something like that. I don't think it'll be too crazy warm and yet, but you might be able to find a mid-60 or two.
It's getting there.
Yeah, and tomorrow it will be.
And hopefully we won't get just a ton of rain. Hopefully this little rain coming by tomorrow won't monkey things up too much. But the lake sits at 740.9 right now, which is basically 11 feet above summer pool. The inflow is 1,006 CFS and the outflow is 4429. So, we've got a net gain of about 3,400. So that's pretty good. They're able to yank on it pretty good at that. And, like we said, the temps are upper 50s, low 60s for the most part. I was over by Scotts Creek yesterday, and I don't know. What would you say? Is there a foot of clarity now? Maybe a little more?
It's getting there. Yeah, the watercolor's finally getting there. It's turned around from the massive flood we had about a month ago.
Yeah,
it's finally starting to turn around, though.
And, in the backs of some of the creeks, I've noticed it's really starting to clear up, even more so than down around here, because there's a tremendous amount of traffic down here, too. We just got 3 ramps open, as far as I know. There's Scotts Creek and Stony and Offrey. I look for Clay Lick and Warwick's and all those. I think those are just going to be a while because even when the water gets down enough, it's going to take a while for them to get those parking lots cleaned up and all that kind of thing. Right now, as far as fishing here goes, everything I'm hearing is shallow, crappie and catfish, even the muskie. There's the thing with the warmer weather, the fishing traffic has picked up. So I've heard of just more fish being caught just because there's more people out, and they're locating fish, but they're shallow. And now with the lake getting down, when it starts getting to 10 foot and lower, you're getting more fishable areas. When it's up 20, 25 feet above pool, it's hard to find anywhere that's fishable just because there's so many trees and it's just hard to get around. But now, it's starting to get down to where you can do something and the water's warming up too. But everything is still shallow for the most part, from what I'm hearing. Crappie are on minnows, and, you just got to find not big trees or anything like that. But if you can find some decent bushes in 6-8 foot of water, that seems to be the deal. But you're going to have to go plumb to the back of a creek to find that, I think. But it's gotta be a creek too, from what I'm hearing. There's got to be some sunlight that hits in that thing too. It just can't be some little old dark hollow that the trees aren't getting into. I don't know what the deal is with that. The catfish and the crappie too. You know, there's been a pretty good run of fishing down at the spillway, even with all this muddy water. The main spillway right now is kind of tough with the big outflow they've got going, but that little, what I call the killer corner down there on that side that is next to the fish hatchery, where that little backwater is, you know, there's those guys that, well, you know them better than I do. Right. I forgot their names, but I follow them on Instagram and stuff. But they fish at spillway all the time, and they've really been putting a hammer down on them from what I've seen on social media. Catfish and crappie both.
They've been catching them really good.
Yeah, they do. They've just been killing them, and they pretty much fish that area. I think that's about the only area they fish when the water's up big like this. The muskie, from what I'm hearing, it's still a trolling bite. That seems to be what everybody's doing. But now it's getting warmed up and it's getting down enough. I think we're about ready to start seeing that rattle trap bite. And that's a big deal here in the spring. It's kind of what it has a reputation for. And with that, I think once that hits in here, you know, I think there'll be a bit of a spinnerbait bite kick in too. You know, I do. At least that's what I hope for anyway. You know? Right. And everything. So we'll see. I expect with the water warming up, the fishing's just going to get better and better and better all the time. At least that's what I hope for. And that's just what I think. We're just getting that time of year. These fish here are, I would imagine these fish here are still pre-spawn, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're going to be dominantly pre-spawn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were fish locked on beds by even today or tomorrow. There could be some locked on beds. It all just depends on what that water temperature is.
Right.
I've heard, like, I've got a buddy down at Dale Hollow right now that I travel with, and he went ahead and went down today, and he's been fishing, and he's kind of kept me up to date on what's going on down there. Just kind of water conditions and all that stuff. So he said, you know, the water's mid 60s. He's seeing a few on beds, so we're not that geographically off from Dale Hollow.
No.
So the fish should be around the same stage, if not a little bit. The way K Run works is when the lakes really start warming up, it goes a lot quicker than other lakes.
Yeah.
But getting to that warm up is slower for some reason. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It's weird, but yeah, it does. It seems like it takes a while to get going, but man, once it hits, it overnight
almost too fast, really.
Yeah, I mean, it'll go from you know, water temps in the mid 40s to 60 degrees, and seems like a week. It's crazy. I don't, and I think that confuses these fish here.
It's tough to.
You know.
It's tough. I mean, we always think about. Them, you know, going through a cold front and the water temperature dropping, you know, 5-10 degrees. But I mean, it's still a big change when the water temperature rises.
Yeah, you take because I mean, it hasn't been just a week or two ago. I mean, we had 40-degree temps,
right?
And now we're 60. You know, I mean, for the most part, and you know. To me, that's a big deal for these fish and everything. So I think you're right. I think at times here, I think this lake can warm up too fast. But you know, I expect here, not this coming week, but the week after. You know, we've got the PMTT coming into town. I don't know how big the field is, but just judging from the reservations in our lodging and different folks that have called, I would imagine they've got a pretty big field, just for the simple fact that everybody, you know, it was all shut down last year because of the COVID and everything. And I think a lot of these guys were just anxious to get out of town and fish some new water, especially fish a place like this that if we bar and get another big bunch of rain, as far as the muskies goes, this lake will be in real shape in about 2 weeks. I think.
It should fish really good. When exactly is that PMTT?
That's the week in like that 23rd, 24th, something like that.
I
Yeah,
have a big high school tournament down there that same week.
We're about you do. Yeah, we're about 2 weeks out, and barring a big rain, if the weather continues like it is, I just look for it to be lights out by that time.
It should be really good.
Yeah.
It really should be.
Well, Ev, what have you heard anything as far as what the bass are doing here, and if folks are going to make a little trip out to Cave Run this week, what would you recommend for them anyway?
The fish are going to be shallow. That's no secret. It's April's here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what April's known for, is fishing shallow. Getting up in the dirt and getting up there with them.
Right.
They're going to be in the bushes. We've got the lake's 11 foot over summer pool, so we've got no shortage of bushes to fish right now.
No.
So the fish get up there. The only issue is sometimes you can't get all the way up to them. But because they go so shallow, and there's only so much stuff you can fit a bass boat through.
Right.
But if you can get all the way into the backs of the creeks, that's where they should be.
Right.
They should be as shallow as you can possibly fish. All my kind of rule of thumb is all it takes is a foot for a fish to live in. Sometimes even less.
Yeah.
Sometimes even less. I've caught them. I've caught them before where I had to take a double take and look where I actually caught it from and think, wow.
Yeah.
There's not even hardly water there.
Yeah.
But they're going to be be shallow. Your best baits. You're going to be flipping. Flipping a jig, flipping a creature bait, something like that on a tungsten with a Texas rig.
Right.
You can catch them on a spinner bait, chatter bait, square.
That's what I was going to say. And you just think just basic stuff like maybe just a chartreuse white, nickel blades, maybe even one of those ones with that red kicker blade on it, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Your spinner baits. There's no need to really complicate a spinner bait. You fish your chartreuse and white skirts, maybe a white skirt, gold blades, maybe like Dan said that red Colorado kicker. That's always a really good option in the pre-spawn.
Yep.
So you've got several options that you can catch them on as far as a spinnerbait goes that are all good. So it's just kind of whatever you have confidence in, or maybe whatever you have access to.
I think they'll bite here this weekend.
I
really do. I really do. I mean, granted, this isn't, as far as bass fishing goes, I know this isn't Dale Hollow, but I think for Cave Run, I think it'd be worth a trip out this weekend. I do. I think it'll be a good run because it's supposed to be nice weather. Be a little rainy, I think, Saturday, but it's a warm rain, so that's not going to hurt anything.
If anything, that'll help. Really,
feller might even jerk out a buzz bait.
You better believe. Let me listen to this. I'm out here rigging rods right now.
Yeah.
I
hear that squeak.
You can hear it right there, buddy. I've got it.
Give us while you're at it, we went through all this stuff here. Give us a little bit of a lowdown on what you got going on this coming weekend here.
Well, this coming weekend, I'm leaving in the morning. I'm going to try and be on the road at about 3:30. The second stop of the Mountain BFL series is coming to Dale Hollow, and that's Saturday morning. It should be a really good tournament. Those fish have they've transitioned up from the main pre-spawn stage, and there's beds. I might be able to get up there and look at a few, maybe bedfish a little bit. I picked up from the Hook Outdoors store today a couple of white baits today.
There you go. That's a nice plug. I like that. That's a good plug. I like that.
Yeah, buddy. picked up a couple of white baits today to flip around. Something you can see on them beds.
Right.
A lot of those fish, they're going to be extremely, extremely shallow. So I'm that's what I'm kind of banking on. I've got 12 rods out right now tied on that I've got rigged up. Just to kind of break down I've still got my A rig and my jerk baits and all that stuff tied on from the past couple of weeks. Basically what I'm going to do there in practice is I'm just going to make sure that those patterns still work. That way, if come tournament day, if I catch them shallow, which they should be, it should just be a shallow beat down. But I'm just going to kind of have that in my back pocket to say, maybe if the shallow bite doesn't pan out Saturday for some reason, I can still go out and I can still have confidence in throwing an A rig and a jerk.
Because that's of course. I know as the water warms up and they're they're moving away from that bite, and you hear that bite's kind of fizzled out. But it's fishing; it can change in a heartbeat, and that is kind of a confidence thing. I mean, you can't get stuck in it, but it has put a check in your hand twice now. So you can't leave it behind altogether, but you just kind of let the fish sort of tell you what they're doing. And I mean, that's the thing about a lake like Dale Hollow, and these, what I consider these real bass lakes, the fish are just a little easier to pattern.
Right, they are.
I think, not to detract from Cave Run, because I want people to come to Cave Run because I mean, I got a business here and everything, and it's a good fishery. But those bigger lakes like Dale Hollow, they're just I don't know why they just seem to be easier to pattern. I don't know. Maybe it has to do one thing like Dale Hollow, like Cumberland. In the wintertime, they don't get as cold as Cave Run. So, and in the spring, they don't warm up as, they get warmer earlier, I guess you'd say, but they don't have that drastic warm up. It's just more gradual. And I just don't think the fish get as tore up. They just ain't as all wound up and confused and all that kind of thing. That's what I think anyway.
Really, I think the biggest difference is just the sheer size of them, just the difference.
Yeah, sure.
Because you've got Dale Hollow, it's a 30,000 acre lake.
Mm-hmm.
You've got two main rivers flowing into it. You've got a really good population of grass. You've got a population of, stick ups and standing timber in some of the creeks. You've got brush piles, humps, shoals that come up. You've got a really good offshore game, like I was just mentioning. And you've also got you've got the like the channel swing banks, the bluff walls, chunk rock banks, and there's a big difference there is they've got, like Cumberland and Dale Hollow specifically, they've got a massive population of all three species of fish.
They do.
Bass, anyways. You can pretty much bank on, in a tournament, you can kind of bank on all three species. With the exception of smallmouth, because I mean you can still catch smallmouth in a tournament and weigh them in, but you can only keep two in a tournament. But you still have you have the opportunity.
And you can only have like one over and one under. So, you can have one big one and then you can have one that's a dud. So,
you can go out on Dale Hollow and you can have 15 to 16 pounds. And even on the largemouth and smallmouth specifically, you can have well over 20 pounds. But on all three, you can have 15 to, 17 pounds of all three species.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you can go catch 17 pounds of only spots. You can go catch 17 pounds of 5 largemouth, and you can go catch 17 pounds of all smallmouth. So you can go do so many different diverse things and catch them.
Yeah. And I guess that's just the thing. And I just think that I don't know if their water levels are just so up and down like Cave Run is. I think that hurts this lake because, like, when it went up here back in the 1st of February, it went up, let's see, 724 to about 751 or so, like 26, 27 feet in the span of about 2 or 3 days,
which is absolutely massive.
Yeah, and if once it gets done downstream and they can really open it up, I mean, they can pull this thing 8 or 10 inches a day here, maybe even a little bit more. Right. And that's just, I don't know. I mean, I know like those current lakes, like in the TVA and such, I know they can draw them down a lot whenever they're generating power and stuff, but this thing is just different. Maybe it's just the water's got more nutrients in it or something. I don't know. It's just
that's
weird.
Another big difference too. I don't really know the science behind it or anything, so it's not really something I can talk about, and do it justice. But there is a difference in like the nutrition of the waters, like comparing Cave Run and like to Dale Hollow or something. There is a difference.
If you go back and actually listen to my interview with that Chris Mann, the B&M crappie guy, and that's what he was speaking. That's one of the things he was talking about, was I guess you'd say, the fertility of this water, and comparing it to some of the other lakes that he fishes for crappie and everything, and how it's just, it's on the lower end of the spectrum. And I believe that, and I don't know the science behind it, but you look how this thing just gets gin clear in the summertime,
Right.
and I think that has a lot to do with the fertility of it. I don't know, but it's just something. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, you've got that deal on Dale this weekend, and not to put no pressure on you, but you have cashed 2 checks down there so far. So the it's on you now. I mean, you
Right.
can't
Yeah, I know.
you
I've
can't
got
you
the.
can't go down there and lay an egg now, man. You especially now, the way this weather's setting up and everything. You need to come in with a sack full and
I know it.
and drive out there with some money, man.
I know it. It's setting up to be a really good tournament.
Yeah.
The Mountain Division MLF, they always put a tournament this week on Dale Hollow,
Yeah.
and just kind of looking back on weights and all that stuff, I won't feel confident about winning unless I have about 22. I won't feel confident about cutting a check unless I have about 14 to 15.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's going to work this week. Those fish are shallow. They're
Well,
backed up. They're spring pre-spawn fish, and they're just
those Toyota guys stuck them last weekend, wasn't that it?
they caught them pretty good.
And
But
that
the
was
thing is,
nasty where they were
right.
there.
On paper, it looks like they absolutely smashed them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you like, I watched the live weigh-in all 3 days of the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and just listening to what they talked about is the guys who caught them, they were only getting 5 to 10 bites a day.
So they weren't going out there and catching like 20, 30 fish and culling. Basically, you had to get it in a boat, or you may be going broke.
Right. Even the winner of the tournament, Adam Wagner, he said on day 2, the 5 fish that he weighed in, those were the only 5 bites he got all day.
Wow, it's amazing.
I mean, it's that they were stuck with a nasty cold front. They had the water temperature dropped off pretty big time.
Yeah,
and they kind of messed up a lot of guys' shallow patterns, but
mud. It was muddy, and there was just trash and filth everywhere, and all like that. Just kind of to jump around here. I haven't kept up with it a whole lot, but they are getting ready to fish that next Elite Series tournament there on the Sabine River. And just from what guys that I follow on social media and some videos and stuff I've seen, they're catching a lot of little fish, but I haven't seen.
The Sabine River is going to be the Sabine River. It's always a tough fishery. They put it on the schedule almost every single year, and they kind of did it on purpose, just kind of throw a curveball in there, and that's kind of in there just to really mess up. Well, not really mess up, but kind of it's like playing pool. When you break first thing, it's kind of spread out that AOY. Those points right there to really see who's locked in, who's dialed in. Not really. I mean, the Sabine River is just it's a different fishery. Just kind of watching from the past, the guys who consistently do good at the Sabine River, they always make huge runs. Like I'm talking like making 80 to 100-mile runs.
That Greg Hackney done pretty good on the Sabine River.
Greg Hackney will be leading the AOY after Sabine River. He's got the lead right now for AOY, and he will not lose it. That's my prediction.
That's what I think. He always does. Of course, that's right down in there. I mean, he's used to fishing that kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of in his wheelhouse, really. I think
because he's from Louisiana. He's from the area.
Yeah,
he's probably the best, if not the. He probably is the best jig fisherman on the tour. Shallow, not even just just jig in general, but just flipping a jig, fishing shallow, getting up there, he's a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy you want to learn from.
Right.
If you really, when I think of flipping a jig, I either think of Randall Tharp or Greg Hackney. And Greg Hackney, he's kind of made jig fishing, popular. I guess he's the kind of guy you watch, and no matter where he goes, when it is, whatever kind of conditions he's faced with, he's always 100% of the time going to have a jig tied on.
Well, there you have it, folks. And, Evan mentioned earlier that, you might want to throw a jig at Cave Run this weekend. So,
Right.
Look you up a YouTube video of Greg Hackney if you don't know a whole lot about it, and get yourself familiar with it. Come down here and try it. It's a great way to fish. You can always catch a fish on a jig when a lot of other things just aren't producing. And a lot of guys, they have a lot of confidence in them.
Right. Yeah, well, it should be a really good weekend at Cave Run.
Yeah,
and even anywhere in the
anywhere.
In the United
There's
States.
just good.
I'm
There's
seeing
just good
pictures
weather
of guys
everywhere
up in Wisconsin and stuff, catching them, on lakes up there, just absolutely killing the smallmouth. So it's getting that time of year. Everybody's catching them. I've seen a lot of pictures of really, really quality fish coming off the flats and Cave Run and just really anywhere on Cave Run. So. Get out there, just get with them, go fishing. It'll be a lot of fun. It's getting that time of year where you can really, really count on catching a true giant.
Well, folks, we're going to call it a night and everything, and let Evan get back to rigging his tackle and everything, and just wish him good luck. And like we say here, just come out and see us and get outdoors with Hook Outdoors.